All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual who fights at BKFC 50, which goes down on September the 22nd, in a very intriguing bout as Brett Hudson knuckles up and toes the line against Angelcor, and great having Andrew on the show. How's your day going there, man? You having a solid one?
Yes, sir, I am. It's a holiday, so I'm home with the kids. No school today, so I'm just hanging out and, living the dad life.
No, it's awesome, man. Are they kind of at the age where they know what dad does, or are they still like a little too young to kind of understand all that?
No, I have a 9-year-old daughter, a 7-year-old son, and a 3-year-old daughter. And my 7-year-old and 9-year-old are in my boxing class that I teach here in class and in town. And so they know what time it is. And then my 3-year-old, she knows that, daddy punches, and they watch the fights on TV while I'm away fighting out of state. So they know what I do. My 3-year-old is more, interested in her babies than me, but the other two, they get it. My daughter, she's a girl, so she doesn't like to feel the blood, but my son loves it.
Well, it's cool that you kind of have them in it, like they're kind of getting things going with like the boxing and everything like that. That must be cool.
Yeah. They I'm the boxing coach for the kids program here in Barstow, so they're both personally involved in the sport,
And is that at Victory Fitness? I think I was seeing that in your Instagram bio.
Yeah. Victory Fitness is the gym here in Barstow that I teach at.
Yeah, that's awesome. It seems like you really represent well and everything like that. So, good to see all of that. And yeah, it must have been interesting just with like the last go around there. I mean, you obviously have some crossover with Bare Knuckle, but just being like the head boxing coach on like a day-to-day frequent basis, and the last one being in gloved boxing, like obviously in the binary there didn't go your way per se, but I would think that would be a good experience overall and just the overall journey. So what was that like there in May when you had a gloved boxing bout?
Yeah, man, that was exciting. To me, I didn't win the fight, but the overall experience was a win for me because, I started, I've been boxing since I was 16, and I'm 33 now, so I had 25 amateur glove matches, and, that was my second glove match. It wasn't like I said I was going to be a bare knuckle fighter to begin with. So for the glove side, I still plan to fight gloves again. To me, boxing is boxing with or without the gloves. And the reason that fight all transpired, I took the fight on 5 days' notice. That's why I say it was still a win for me because, on 5 days' notice, I flew from California to Florida. So I flew across the country, made weight. My coach couldn't go because it was short notice. He wasn't able to get the time off. So I flew with no team, no coach, nothing. I fought a guy that was like 5-0 at the time. He's 6-0 now or 7-0 now. He was like 6'2" in his backyard. Tall, rangy, undefeated. Hometown here. Like on paper, I had no reason to take the fight, but I was able to make the weight, go across the country by myself. Drop everything and give him the hardest fight he ever had. And so and him and I became friends after. So it was all respect and again, just for the mental aspect for myself to know that I can do that. I'm capable of answering a call, making weight, and doing all that within 5 days' notice, and giving him hell. It's not like I went and got beat up. Like I gave him the worst fight he had. So it was a good experience. I got to meet new people. Like I said, him and I are friends on Instagram now, and I watched his last fight like 2 weeks ago. He won again. So my network grew. Obviously people saw it. Whether I won the fight or not, I got people's attention because they're like, damn, this guy will take a fight that short notice against a guy that most people would duck and dodge. I'm not going against easy opponents.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, even from my layman perspective, that was kind of how I saw it, but also seemingly a pretty good platform, just being that it's on that Jake Paul promoted most valuable prospects. That's cool to hear that you're looking to do more of the glove boxing, though. Like, obviously, we love to see you in BKFC, but just speaking to the idea of, like, fighters having those, like, independent contractor opportunities, like, you actually get to go out there and have this BKFC career, but also pursue gloved boxing. So that must be thrilling for you and freeing from, I guess, your vantage point there.
Yeah, man. It allows me to stay busier. It allows me to, take more opportunities, especially because of the glove match. I don't break my hands in the fight. I don't take as much damage, so the turnaround is faster. So if I'm able to, fight glove matches between the bare knuckle just to stay busy, obviously, get paid and feed my family, keep my name going. Plus, I'm 33. I'm no spring chicken. I don't have, I got a very short window of opportunity to do something. So the busier I can stay, the better. I live in the gym, so I'm always in shape. So for me, I don't want to wait months and months between fights. I would like to stay active, and we'll ride the momentum.
Yeah, I definitely can understand that, and I guess just kind of redirecting the focus to the bare knuckle. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on the last one there, because, it seems like fighters, sometimes with a draw, it's like a weird, I guess, set of emotions, like they're not sure what to really take out of it, but you kind of strike me as like an analytical, studious guy. Like, what takeaways did you have from that David Bosnick fight at BKFC 36 that ultimately did end in a draw?
Yeah, so simple and plain, get busy faster. That's it. It's very clear why I got to draw, and therefore if I know what the problem is, I know what the solution is. So the problem was I handed the first 2 rounds to him by being too cautious and too hesitant, and so I picked it up in the 3rd round and got busy, got the knockdown in the 4th, and if it would have won another round, I know without a doubt I would have won. And so, and then, but it is what it is. I know that I gave the fight to him by being so slow to start, and so that means you can bet your ass on the 22nd, I will not be slow to action.
And just kind of curious, because with your opponent here, Brett Hudson, readying to make his bare knuckle debut, I'm curious, like, have you been able to, find any tape on your opponent here? I was doing like a cursory kind of bit of research and didn't really see as much on him, admittedly. Like, were you, or I guess maybe coaches internal to your preparations, able to find anything on this guy, or is it more about, yeah?
And I'm sure I found the same stuff that you did. Like, I found his Instagram, and he has a few hey, I'm on the phone. Go in the room. So I found a few Instagram clips, like 10 seconds hitting the pads. I found no fights, no nothing. And so that is unfortunate because, I'm not underestimating him. I know he's making his debut, but to me, it's kind of like a baby snake, right? They can't control their venom, so they're actually more dangerous because of that. So I'm not at all taking him lightly. The fact that I don't have any fights or anything to study, it kind of works against me because I don't know what to expect. Little snippets of pad work on the Instagram doesn't mean shit, because it doesn't matter how you hit the pads or the bag. It's how do you do in a fight, because once you get hit, it's different. And then so obviously that does play into my advantage, because this will be my 4th bare knuckle fight. I know what time it is. I've been knocked down. I've been cut open. I've been to 5-round wars. I've been there. I've been on that stage. I've been with the cameras and the lights and the action. So that works to my favor. I don't know his experience. If maybe he does some stuff that this is not online. I don't know. I don't know his style. But I would imagine, because it's his debut and he wants to prove himself, he's probably coming to fight. It's very, very unlikely that he's just going to show up and roll over.
Yeah, for sure. A very interesting, proposition here with him coming in. But I guess a variable with this one I kind of find interesting, because with some of these fighters and just this card in general, it's like, I sometimes do talk about the higher altitude that Denver brings, but it seems like, being that you're based out of Barstow, there's that higher altitude there as well. And having already fought in this market before, so it would seem like you're very familiar with all of that already and would know how to navigate that, where it's like a negligible difference either way, I guess.
Yeah, I'm in an area in California called the High Desert. So our altitude is, we're a few thousand feet up. And then I fought in Denver already, and we thought maybe that wasn't going to be a difference. And we got off when I was, cutting weight off the plane, hitting the pads. I didn't feel anything. I fought a 3-round fight before I knocked out my last opponent up there, and I didn't feel tired. I'm in pretty damn good shape. I train constantly year round. I'm never off weight. I just told you I made weight in 4 days last time. So, I've already been there. He trains there regularly, so he's probably got more acclimation to it. But I'm not worried about it. I've already been there, and I know what I bring to the table. And I don't see this fight going 5 rounds, so it's not like cardio is going to be a factor. You know, I honestly think he's going to come out, you know, guns blazing, like I was in the storm, and then, you know, put him on his ass.
So you think like his, I guess, forward pursuit, because it was like almost like you were talking about him before as like someone that's going to have like that level of fervor, like coming right at you, like you see yourself capitalizing on that and that leading to the finish.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Just like I said, you know, I'm basing this solely off of like the, you know, his personality online, and you know, this actually isn't my original opponent. My original opponent bailed out on me like 2 weeks ago, and he stepped in. So the fact that he wasn't my original opponent, and he was willing to step up and be like, man, you know, forget this guy, I'll fight him. Like, I'm not scared of him like these other guys. That tells me that in his mind, he's a warrior, and he's willing to step up, you know, and he doesn't care about who I am or what my record is or where I come from. This guy's like, they might be scared, but I'm not. So I imagine he didn't just step up and take the fight to sit there, you know.
And I'm sure there's a level of, you know, camaraderie that probably creates, because we were talking about the, you know, short notice nature of the glove boxing before, but even when you stopped Van Vo in the 3rd round of your lightweight bout there previously, it's like, I mean, that was another short notice one, so I'm sure that imparts a level of respect to your opponent, just being that you can kind of understand that perspective there.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. No, yeah, I definitely respect, I mean, and I appreciate that he is willing to step up to fight, because if he doesn't step up, then I don't fight. If I don't fight, I don't eat, I don't pay, you know, my bills, I don't feed my kids. So to me, it's frustrating when guys, you know, claim that they're fighters and they're about that life, and then they duck and dodge people because it's not an easy fight, their hometown and all that BS. I don't, by the end of the day, fighters fight. So for me, I respect all my opponents. Every guy that I've fought, you know, I became friends with after. I'm a professional. That's what we do. We fight. So there's no reason. And then again, him taking the fight, you know, 2-3 weeks notice is impressive.
And all this just must be so satisfying for you, because it seems like you've been boxing since you were like 15, and it seemed like certain struggles outside the sport really prevented you from really, like, I guess, bearing the fruits of that labor until, like, even kind of more recently, and what you've been doing with some of the efforts we've been talking about in, you know, Queensbury rules boxing and BKFC. So, like, how satisfying is that? It seems like you really relish representing this underdog and kind of representing people who are late starters, just being like, hey, like, you can jump into this and really make a run at it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, you. I take it you've seen some of my prior interviews or read some articles, because you are very familiar with my mindset is definitely as the underdog. I've always been transparent about my background and where I've come from. You know, I live a life of you know, sobriety now. I don't shy away from the fact that, you know, I started at 16, 17, but you know, I got distracted. You know, did some time, made some bad decisions. You know, in and out of jail and rehab and all that. So I've made it my mission to reach out. I want to be relatable. I want people to hear my story and see me and be like, man, he was strung out at one point. He was locked up at one point. But it gets better if you're willing to work for it. You know, I didn't grow up spoon-fed. I'm not a trust fund baby. I didn't have it easy. And most people don't. That's the reality. I'm not the only one. But I don't want to pretend like I'm some superhero because I fight on TV now, or like, you know, I'm a professional athlete. I don't make mistakes. Just the opposite. I want to encourage people that if you're willing to put the work in, whatever your desire is, you can achieve it. You just got to be willing to put the work in and be consistent and accept those losses and keep going despite the setbacks, because a lot of people, the first time they taste adversity or defeat, they quit because it's hard now. But that's the reality. There's very few things in life come easily, and those things that do come easily aren't worth it. You know, they don't last long. So that's kind of like my story. You know, that comeback story, the underdog. You know, and so far it's the truth. So I don't have to like play a part. You know, I'm just telling it how it is. You know.
Yeah, and like you're saying, I mean, such a inspiring thing for like someone who might even be listening and seeing if you're, or like if they were in that spot and it's like, hey, this guy's doing great things. Like it seems like the sobriety for multiple years now and just the dedication to the family is great for the balance. Like we were mentioning the kids earlier, but you seem like a dedicated husband too. So it seems like both of those things are really giving you that grounded kind of focus. And it seems like maybe that forward pursuit of a BKFC title also allows you to kind of have that focus and something to, I guess, build up towards, I guess.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there has to be a tangible end goal, right? There has to be something to make this all worth it, you know, like, later on tonight, I'll be driving to Vegas for sparring tomorrow, so that's 2 hours each way, and, you know, I get up every day at 4 a.m., and I teach fitness classes at 5 in the morning, and, you know, I got to run in a little bit. I got to go meet with my coach, and we'll do pad work and work out later, so for me to do this every day and take the beatings and drive the far miles and, you know, just the day in and day out grind, there has to be a goal, so an end goal that makes it worthwhile. So of course, having, you know, getting a shot at the title and getting that, you know, seat at the top is like, okay, that's what all this was for. You know, to have my wife have my back and what she does, and you know, have to leave my family, and you know, when we fight, we travel, we're gone for 2-3 days at a time, and so my wife picks up the slack while I'm gone, so there must be something that makes it worthwhile. And she understands that, which is why she's the most important member of my team. So, yeah, man. And then, of course, as a father and a boxing coach for the kids class, like, I get to lead, you know, by example to the kids. You know, they get to look at, you know, I look what Coach Drew does, and I get to, you know, have this, like, resume that I can show off and say, hey, you know, if this is your goal, I've been there. Because nobody wants to learn from someone who, or take advice from someone who hasn't done what they're trying to do, right? So I get to walk it like I talk it.
Yeah, and it seems like just an interesting like state of flux in the division right now. Like I was seeing in an interview after not your last fight, but the fight you had that I mentioned at BKFC 31 against Van Vo, like you were looking for like a top 5 caliber opponent and everything. But it seems like just even in looking at the top 5 now, it's, yeah, like I said, in a state of flux because like James Lilly is coming off of a bid for the title, and I mean Bobby Taylor, like I think he needs to get some momentum back. Like just to say, it seems like there is that sort of opening to, you know, face a guy who's either previously contended for the title or, you know, face someone who, you know, is kind of close to it. Like maybe even like, it's because it seems like a Tony Soto or a Bryce Henry would potentially be like that, you know, next challenger unless Robbie Peralta can get in there. So I guess like what are your thoughts on just the general state of the division right now and, you know, your ability to kind of like get into that top 5 going forward, do you think?
Well, yeah, first things first, I have to take care of business on the 22nd. I would like to think that if I take care of business the way I know I will and make a statement, then it's going to be undeniable. Then it's, okay, you know, I got, you know, I'm undefeated at, you know, 3-0. You know, I would like to keep the momentum going. And like you said, people are moving in and out, and some people are moving up in weight and down in weight. So it kind of, I feel like, you know, I know with Palomino recovering from surgery, I don't even know what they're doing with the title. But I feel that if I take care of business after this fight, there's no reason I shouldn't get a recognizable name, whether that's the top 5 or not. You know, there's got to be somebody worthwhile that they got to give me because, you know, nobody, I don't want to be the guy that just fights, you know, a bunch of nobodies because then the fans don't respect that. And I'm not here to look good on Instagram. You know, I'm a real fighter. I want to fight real fighters. I'd rather fight a James Lilly and lose than a bunch of nobodies and win. You know what I mean? And so, and by the way, me and James Lilly are good friends. So, you know, if we do fight, the loser has to take the winner out for eggy bread.
Has to take the winner out for what, sorry?
Eggy bread. It's a joke between him and I because he's from overseas, and apparently they call French toast eggy bread over there. So, but him and I have actually messaged each other about that. You know, James Lilly and I acknowledge that even though we like each other personally, we're willing to put a show on for the people. You know, right now with Bryce Henry's momentum, I know he's calling out Palomino. Tony Soto, and I've seen him and Bobby Taylor calling each other out. So right now, I don't know what's going to happen because allegedly a bunch of people are calling each other out. And so it's like, who knows where the dice are going to, land. I'm going to take care of business on the 22nd, and then, we'll see what the people demand. To me, I feel like that's how it should go, right? If I take care of business and everyone in the division is doing their thing, what it comes down to is who do you want to see fight each other? Because they're the ones that are going to pay to watch. They're the ones who are going to tune in. I'm a fighter and a fight fan. I know that I like to see when two big names are going to fight each other because that's worthwhile. So for me, it's like, all right, who do you want to see fight? And then if you get, if the demand is there, let's go.
And just curious to get your perspectives on this, being that you had the, grounding in boxing and that you've been on this BKFC path. Like, it seems like there's certain things that, can obviously pay dividends, like from glove boxing to BKFC, but it also seems like you've talked about the sport in a way where it's like, oh yeah, you can't really like even shell up normatively because like taking punches on your wrists and forearms hurts. So like, what are some crossover elements, and also, I guess in saying that, some elements you kind of have to amend as you kind of take the glove boxing experience into the, I guess, BKFC framework?
Yeah, so as far as similarities, at the end of the day, boxing is boxing, and so distance is distance, right? Like timing and distance are elements of fighting, period, whether it's boxing or bare knuckle. You have to know where to be and when to be there. So you have to be smart, and that comes down to having, footwork and being able to move, in and out and laterally. If you just sit there, you're an easy target. And with no gloves on, like you mentioned, you can't Philly shell, I can't parry and hide behind the gloves. You see guys who just put their hands right here, but, to me, that just tells me you're going to get your fingers broken. So you have to definitely a little bit more movement with the head and things like that. What I've learned from my own experience is straight punches, right, are where the money's at, because the big winging shots are what hit the side of the head. And at my first fight, I broke 4 fingers. As you can see, my hands are pretty gnarly looking. That's how they healed permanently. So that's because I'm throwing big hooks and banging the skull and breaking my fingers. So you want to stay away from that. You look at guys like Bryce Henry, man, straight, long punches right down the pipe. Wow, he put people away in the first round because he's just precise with those straight shots. So that goes to show you don't need the big old haymakers. So just placing your punches in the right spot. It's more about punching precision than power in bare knuckle. And of course, it's easy to say. If you see me fight, I get in there and I'm trying to take your head off, but that's just who I am stylistically. Like I said, defensively, it's more about, staying on the out, moving your head, getting yours, and then going. Don't just sit there, because if you sit there, you're going to get hit, and no matter where you get hit, you feel it.
And I guess one of the last things I wanted to touch on, because I feel like there's almost like a pretty hard binary with this. Like, I'll talk to bare knuckle fighters who come from either glove boxing or MMA, and I'll ask if they do any like unique like hand strengthening techniques, like maybe like working with the wooden Muay Thai boards, or like punching the sand, or like the different micro fractures. Like, some guys like swear by that, and then also conversely there are other guys who are like, oh no, that's ridiculous, like I've been fighting for years, like my hands are plenty strong already. Like, where are you at in that?
So I personally don't go punching brick walls and shit. I'll hit the bag without my gloves. Like, I will, I'll take my wrist the way we fight, with the wrist and the knuckles exposed. That's how I wrap my hands in the gym. And I'll hit the bag. I'll do regular bag work with, like, sometimes I'll use full boxing gloves. Sometimes I'll use, like, the 4-ounce MMA gloves. And then what I'll do is, like, the last few rounds, I'll have my gloves off and I'll hit the bag without the gloves. And that's why I got, like, the marks. You see all these little marks on my hands, because I do hit the bag bare. And that's just because you want to get used to hitting without a glove on, because the way you clench your fist matters. You know what I mean? If you have a glove on, inside the boxing glove, your hands are like this. They're relaxed inside the glove. But bare knuckle, you have to be able to actually know when to clench and tighten up. So that right there works the forearm muscles in a way you're not used to. You don't think about those things when you're hitting regular boxing gloves. So I do that. Like I said, teach your own. I'm not saying that people who hit the brick walls and steel pipes aren't. I mean, if they're winning, then it's working. I'm not here to judge that. I'm not going to do it. So, like I said, so far, I'm pretty all right.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. You got that spotless record so far in BKFC, so definitely doing a little more than all right. But I do want to be mindful of the rest of your time and schedule, man. Got a little lost in the sauce, as it were. You're giving a lot of great insights here to these questions, but to reiterate, definitely want to be mindful of your schedule, Andrew. So in saying that, is there any final thought you might want to add as we're kind of wrapping up here, man?
No, I just want to say thank you. Appreciate the opportunity, to talk. I thank you for doing your homework because you definitely, knew some stuff about me. So I appreciate that. From your end, that's you definitely are good at what you do. But as far as the fighting and everything, just tune in September 22nd. Like I said a few minutes ago, I plan to make a statement on this next fight. It'll be nothing like the Boston fight. It'll definitely, I'm coming off the line, dumping. But once I take care of business, I feel that I'll be in a position where I'll be undeniable. And then from there, it has to be either a top 5 ranked fighter or at least a big name that's recognizable. I don't want to settle for no-name fights. I want the big fights, and I want to fight the people that the people want me to fight, And so thank you to Barstow, my hometown, and all the people who sponsor me and believe in me. Thank you to my wife. Thank you to my Victory Fitness team and all the coaches and just all the sparring partners. I'm grateful for the people that God has put in my life. I'm very, very grateful.
Yeah, I think this fight presents a great opportunity to vault yourself to that next level. Great fights already had, but like we're talking about, if you get the desired win you're looking to have, could very much vault yourself into some great opportunities. So definitely excited for BKFC 50 and stoked to see things go down on September the 22nd. But until then, Andrew, you enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks for the time, man.
Thank you, sir. You as well. I'll see you soon.